let's start in Orlando, Florida, no matter what. Let's go to the Cheez-Its Bowl. Not the bowl sponsored by the Cheez-Its, but this is the actual Cheez-Its Bowl. So there's two different bowls that Cheez-Its is involved with. I don't know. I love Cheez-Its. You love Cheez-Its. We all love Cheez-Its. But we're going to Orlando, Florida. This one is at 5:30. This is Oklahoma versus Florida State. At the time of record, Florida State is a 9-point favorite in this game. Over-under is set at 65.5. The best thing about this here, Fresh, Jordan Travis playing in the game. Love it. He's coming back to Florida State. Dylan Gabriel playing in the game. Great. Gives Oklahoma a chance. I'm excited about this game because while this is I wish we could have had this game of the teams about 2 decades ago, of the early 90s, which would have been much more entertaining. We don't get that. Don't got a time machine. Can't go back in time. But I do have current time right now. This is going to be a good one, but I'll throw it over to you here and let you kind of roll with this one first before I get rolling.
Well, I think it's really great that we have two named solid power programs facing off in this matchup, but there's actually a lot to play for in building trends for the future. Well, the first funny part of the whole situation here is that you mentioned the Cheez-It Bowl. So there is the Cheez-It Bowl, and I think they're actually doing Cheez-It has a whole sponsor of a hotel room all in Cheez-It. If you look it up online on Twitter, it's all there. But then there's also the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl on January 2nd between LSU and Purdue. Now, the funny part is Florida State's playing in the stadium in the Cheez-It Bowl. LSU is playing on January 2nd in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, and then both play each other in the exact same stadium and Labor Day weekend to kick off next season. So both are playing in the Cheez-It Bowl now, playing each other in the season opener next year. It's a weird kind of dynamic that all played out in Orlando in the world, happiest place on earth. But it's a cool little side, item there for the entire football game. When I looked at it to start off, Florida State coming off probably one of their best seasons since their college playoff 13-14 sort of run there at the end of the BCS and the beginning of the college football playoff. They've kind of tailed off from there. This is kind of a resurgent back. Is it a one-year thing? Is it a building a program that finally Mike Norvell is able to generate talent and bring it year over year? We're going to find out because this is a capping off of one season and a springboard into 2023. And you're playing a named opponent. You're not playing Eastern Michigan or Southwest Missouri State University or whoever. You're playing Oklahoma. You're playing a blue blood, a brand, a big name. That's going to, whether people say, oh, they were 6-6 or not, you're still beating a powerhouse in name and brand perspective. And that is something to sell to recruits in today's National Signing Day, early signing period. Something to sell for the fan energy going forward. This is a big deal for Florida State and Mike Norvell. And maybe outside the LSU game, outside of beating Florida, maybe your third biggest game of the year. Maybe fourth, could get Clemson in there. But this is a big deal for Florida State. If you can cap it off, beat Oklahoma, and ride that off into the spring, that's a huge item that finally will maybe get some sort of doubt off of Mike Norvell. There's definitely a contingent out there that don't fully trust him, that they think this is a one-year thing, that they got lucky versus LSU. They're not exactly fully there. I don't necessarily believe that to be fully true, and it's because of Jordan Travis, the quarterback. If he wasn't coming back and playing this football game, I would still think maybe there's some doubt, but the kid is an athlete, and he is the dynamic playmaker. If you even watched that Sunshine State showdown between Florida and Florida State on Thanksgiving weekend, he was a one-man wrecking group. He threw it, he ran it, he did everything, and that was just, for most people, probably didn't know that because they hadn't watched him up to that point. He'd been doing that all year, and he was actually the playmaker of the year before. So he's the key for this bowl game success and going forward in the future for Florida State, even if it is one more year, giving another bridge year, giving more talent to arrive. They had a top 20 recruiting class coming year, depending on which portal or group you look at. So it's a solid class coming in. They brought some guys into the transfer portal. So the future is there for 23 and beyond. But this is a great way to cap this season. Oklahoma on the other side, Brent Venables, maybe not the greatest year when he sort of thought he was going to have returning. You finished 6-6. You had some ups. You had some downs. But there's nobody that knows Florida State better and Mike Norvell and maybe Jordan Travis better than him. He's coached against him in 2020 and 2021. Jordan Travis is on campus in 2019, so he kind of understands what it takes to beat Florida State. having Dylan Gabriel back in Orlando when he was at UCF and had his first couple of run there is a nice little homecoming for him and a chance to showcase. You have some talent, but also you have the pride of a program. This is Oklahoma. This is Boomer Sooner. This is not just a team that's happy to be there. This is a team we're prideful and we have a chance of we are who we are. We're going to come in. We're going to show up. And you kind of look at the way that the season went for them. They lost 3 of their last 4, but all 3 of those losses were by 3 points. This team could be a 9-win team for all we know. Yeah, they got thumped by Texas, but they played pretty tough down the stretch. They just didn't have that playmakers. They didn't have the last fourth quarter effort to get over the hump. You give yourself 3-4 weeks to practice. All you have to focus on is one game. You got guys who want to be there who haven't entered in the transfer portal, maybe guys finishing out their career, guys even looking for playing time in the future under Venables' regime. This is a big opportunity for them to showcase what they have. Crazy things happen in bowl games, but you look for the reason why. Why are you there? You have 2 teams who are both very, I think, happy to be there. They want to play. They have enough incentive to produce on the field. I think we're going to get a great football game. If you had to ask me which team has more to lose, I think Florida State has more to lose. If they lose this football game, then people are going to start raising doubt in that program. You went through the ACC. Maybe it was an up and down season, maybe not the great, but you let a 6-6 team from the Big 12 show up and beat you in Orlando, in your home state. That's a big statement right there. Well, I think Florida State has more to lose. Oklahoma has nothing to lose from the football game. They can only gain positive momentum. So I think we're going to see a very spirited effort in Orlando on the 29th. But in the end, I just think Jordan Travis is the difference maker. He has some weapons around him. Guys are trying to buy into him. And he kind of has that swagger feel that you would hope to see from a quarterback, that everyone looks to that quarterback for leadership. He's there. I think he has more energy with him right now. Gabriel and Mims and that offense still trying to find themselves in that Venable defense. They might bring some creative looks in this football game. I think Jordan Travis does just enough to get a Florida State a win. I think they win 27-21. This will actually might go down as one of the top maybe 8, top 5 bowl games of the entire season because I think there's just so much to play for from both sides.
All right, Fresh. So I thought about this and I was thinking more and more about what this game means for both Florida State and Oklahoma. Oklahoma, to me, going 6-6 on this year. Dylan Gabriel went down at the end of, I want to say it was either end of September or early the first weekend of October. Off the top of my head, I don't know which one it was. And the team was never the same once he went down for the year. It's kind of like became like this albatross that they started carrying on them. He transfers in from UCF. He's going back to a stadium that he's very comfortable at. He has 33 touchdowns in Orlando, Florida. When he was at UCF, he had 33 touchdowns there. He actually was a better road quarterback for his sophomore year than he was a home quarterback. I really like that factor. As you said, it was kind of like a homecoming for them. Oh, so the only question I have for Oklahoma is how they're going to replace Eric Gray. Eric Gray has opted out of this bowl game. Are they going to rely more on Javante Barnes? Is Gabriel going to have to use his legs? Is Marcus Major going to do something in this game? Who's going to be the running back to step up for the Sooners? As for Florida State, it's kind of like that capping off of this season. Can you get to that 10-win spot? If you get to the 10-win spot for this year, if you go in and beat Oklahoma, I don't care that Oklahoma is 6-6. I got to give credit. My dad called it right because I think we were at the Browns preseason game against Jacksonville. He's like, I got Oklahoma at 7-5. I think he had them at, and we kind of thought it was crazy, but that was before Gabriel went out. No one's going to care about like what Oklahoma was this year. They're just going to see that win over Oklahoma and be very happy about it. Then they're going to look at Florida State and go, man, you were a 10-win team last year. That's incredible. 10-win team. You should be a top 15 team then. They're going to elevate Florida State quite a bit if they win this game. If you finish the season 9-4, then you're going to say, yeah, it was a nice season. It's a nice bounce back season. But nice seasons don't cut it in Tallahassee. You lost your top coaching candidate. Because if Florida State wanted to make a move, we all know who they were going for. They were going for Deion. And they're going all the way out to Colorado. They're not taking him from Colorado for the next couple of years. I do like the fact that Verse is playing in this game. Jared Verse is playing in this game. 7.5 sacks. It looks like he's going to declare. No one knows for sure 100% on that. I've heard some rumors out of Tallahassee right now that he is getting different reports on where he's going to grade out in his draft stock. Some places, if you look, he's a first-round grade. Other places, he's a day 2 prospect in that second, third round. I would be shocked personally if he wound up being a third-round pick. But, there are people that are paid a whole lot more money than I am when it comes to this. In the end, Fresh, I said 33 touchdowns. 33 is a magical year in Orlando. Why is 33 a magical year in Orlando? That would take us all the way back to 1989. Fresh, you know what happened in Orlando in 1989? Well, that too. But that was Vero Beach. Disney MGM Studios opened up in 1989, and one of the original things was that Disney MGM Studios was going to be the Hollywood of the East Coast. They were going to film there. They were going to have celebrities, and everyone was going to rub elbows with all the hoity-toity people here in Orlando, Florida. Yes, that did not happen out there. Things like World Championship Wrestling was filmed there on their Saturday night main event things. You could take a look at Bette Midler and the Lottery if you ever went to Disney and saw that one. There's a lot of animation there. The best one, though, is this story here, Fresh. I'm a little kid on vacation to Disney World, and this is where I'm going to make my pick. I sat there, and at the time, they were animating Pocahontas. And my father, who was a history teacher, argued with an animator about the historical inaccuracies about Pocahontas, that she was not a grown woman, that she did not fall in love with John Smith, that she was a 12-year-old and she married somebody else here. So, because he argued with that animator, I'm going Boomer Sooners, taking the win, coming into Orlando, and because it's all filled with historical inaccuracies from Florida State in Orlando.